Stream on a Roku, Fire, Google, or Apple TV? You can watch ABC 11 24/7 with the ABC 11 North Carolina streaming channel.
This morning, Eyewitness News is helping you manage your child's mental health. That includes the use of social media.
Yeah, so today we're joined by technology professional Ann Senna. Ann, you're also a mom, so you know about these things. With kids so tech savvy these days, they know it all. Is it a hopeless task to monitor their online activities?
It isn't a hopeless task for parents, but it's a task that requires time and commitment. Time to learn about what's available out there. There's a lot, but time to learn about that, time to configure it, and a commitment to its upkeep. It also requires patience to get everything set up and correctly maintain it. But it brings me tremendous comfort to know that I have these tools in place to protect my kiddos when they're online. I have a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old, and digital devices are just a part of their reality. I don't see everything that they do. I have a special application called the Bark app, and that just monitors their interactions online and the things they do online around certain themes. So if there's a text that it sees as could be potentially bullying, or one of my sons is being bullied, or someone saying something that's unkind, that's flagged. If there's depression themes, drug or alcohol content, sexual content, violence or guns and weapons, then I'm flagged with that. And then I have an opportunity to review what's happening and enter into a conversation with them. I also, speaking of conversations, have open conversations with my sons. I tell them that just like it's my and my husband's job to protect them in the real world, it's also our job to protect them in the digital world, where they spend a lot of their time. I liken it to doing a family trip to the beach. So we talk to the boys before they go in the ocean about rip currents and how powerful the waves are, and that they always need to keep their eyes on us so they can be in our view. So I think about how we prepare them for things like that. I'm also having conversations with them about what does it look like to interact with someone in the digital world, and what could they come across, and how do they handle that.
So there's social media, there's email, all kinds of websites out there. Where do you begin if you want to keep an eye on these things?
I would say the first thing I recommend is having username and passwords for your children's online accounts. If they're under 13, odds are you're going to have to, as their parent, help them open up an account. So it's good to have that, but I would also acknowledge that it's cumbersome to intentionally check all of their accounts because they accumulate over time. So I use tools and technology to help do that checking for me. At home, for our home network, I use a device called the Circle, and that basically protects our home network as a firewall, but it also filters things based on people's profiles. There's an adult profile, a teen profile, and a kid profile that recommends default controls. So it's not me configuring everything. It has some defaults. But the nice thing about controlling the network is that there's a wake time and sleep time that I can set around connecting to the internet. So it helps to enforce bedtimes. It also helps to provide a break where the internet's just not available. So they're going to go outside, or they're going to read a book, or do something else. For monitoring email and websites and social media, I use that Bark app. So it essentially implements a tool called a VPN, or a virtual private network, that sits on my older son's cell phone. So no matter what network he's on, at home, at school, just out at the mall, it's going to have those controls that I put in place to protect him.
And are there any other apps or controls that you'd recommend for parents?
There's quite a bit out there, and I know parents can be really overwhelmed by it all. But I would say that the tech companies have really stepped up over the years to help make it easier. So, for example, Apple has inherent in all of their laptops, their computers, and their iPads and mobile phones, they have screen time. Screen time actually shuts down the phone or wakes it up based on what you said as a parent. There's specific app limits. Let's say for my 10-year-old, I only want him on games 2 hours out of a weekend day. It will group those apps and only allow him 2 hours. It also has content and privacy restriction. So on Apple Music, we have a family Apple Music account. I can set it to say only clean versions of songs, no explicit. It also has default levels for movies and TV shows, so PG-13 versus PG. So that's all in an Apple operating system. I would also say Share My Location has been very helpful for our family logistics. It's the ability for me to see if my husband's bringing my sons home for dinner, I can see how far away they are from the house, and I know when to plan to have dinner ready. Or when my son comes from an away soccer game, I know when to pick him up at school. So that's a super helpful trick that we use to help keep everything moving along. I also recommend that parents think about the type of device that they want to let their children use. For example, my eldest son, he did not get a mobile phone until he was 13. And when he got it, he had only the phone, text with certain people, and the calendar app. Then over time, as he grew older and we continued to have those conversations, I let him have other apps. I also use the Bark app as well, as I've explained. My youngest son at 10 only has a Wi-Fi iPad and can use our home Xbox. He asks me to be a part of group chats with his classmates at school that have been going on for a while, because many of them do have phones. But I tell him, I'm sorry, hon, you can be mad at me, but you're not going to be on the group chats, because as a 10-year-old, you're still learning how to have conversations in a kind, appropriate way in person. When you add that digital layer, things can get out of hand pretty quickly.
All right, great information, Ann Sena. Appreciate it. Technology professional. A lot to keep in mind, but thank you so much for telling us.
Thank you so much for having me.